There is really no betrayal, and I'm sorry to have to put it this way. But you don't have to agree with me yet. This understanding may not be everyone's cup of tea, but at least watch on to hear where I'm coming from. Because I strongly believe that it will bring relief to the pain that you might be feeling right now, like it did for me time and again. And trust me, it doesn't just happen overnight, but it's a journey of revelation that comes through a lot of silent observations, contemplations, learning, and growth. Betrayal, to me, is a term to give meaning to a scenario whereby someone's expectations are simply not met or a promise not kept, and nothing more. This can happen in business, at work, in relationships, and families. Try mentally repeating the word betrayal in your head a few times. Oh my goodness, how heavy and demotivating that must feel, doesn't it? The more you associate with the feeling that comes from the thought of you being betrayed, the more interesting the whole gamut of emotions becomes. Where the idea of betrayal is kept alive, guess what? There is always blame, anger, fear, and disappointment involved. Now think about it. What kind of quality of life would that give you if you hold on to this idea? So when you break it down, you might realize that people are not always meant to meet your expectations because they are free to be who they are and they can decide what they want to do at any moment in time. And when they betray you, it's only showing you whom in your life that you can really trust. It doesn't mean that they have necessarily done something wrong, but only something that is wrong in your perspective of how things should ideally be. And you might want to test it out on yourself though, and turn it around. See if you would call it betrayal when you change your mind about a decision or a choice you make because you follow your heart's desires, even if it means to upset someone else or to break a promise. And I bet you wouldn't, because to you, it is the right thing to do. And this is exactly what happens to the other party whom you believe has betrayed you. Nah, get over it. And I don't mean to be trite and insensitive when it could hurt at the same time, okay? You've been there and I've been there too, and that's why you're here. We all have moments when we feel crushed and things unfortunately just don't pan out the way we envision it to. But what I really mean is to encourage you to think and process this through and allow the concept of betrayal to dissolve. By processing, it entails that you let the feelings come and settle on their own. It can be uncomfortable for sure, but as much as possible, don't react, don't judge, and don't identify with them. And when you hide or avoid it, it is there still, somewhere, lurking in the dark. If you don't address it, the feelings will still continue to inform and dictate your behavior, whether you like it or not. And it will increase your tendencies to attract more similar unpleasant experiences. And bear in mind, whatever decision any person has taken, it also implies to have all potential consequences taken along with it. You cannot just want the upsides and not the downsides, right? There are always pros and cons which you need to be aware of in the choices that you make. Even if you believe the person has made a bad or grave decision, that's only essentially what you think is true, and it doesn't need to be the truth. You have to let whatever happens, happens, because, get this, it's really not up to you. It's not in your control and only nature's. So don't be delusional with it. When it comes to this, none of us is an exception. So be very clear-minded about what is within your control and what isn't. It's just how things are, and it's time to see them for what they are and not in accordance with your interpretation. When you try to change a person's decision so badly to call it a betrayal, you're basically suggesting that they need to be different. And when you want things different, you are in resistance with what is. You want to control things that you have no control of, which also, without a shadow of a doubt, is going to make you a very unhappy person because you are attempting the impossible. So everything comes down to just this. Betrayal is merely an invisible cage which you voluntarily built and lock yourself in, not knowing that you also hold the very key to free yourself from it. Once you are willing to understand what acceptance means, you realize, hey, there is no cage, and hence no key required. You are always free so long you choose for it. So quick one. If you find this helpful, make sure to hit the subscribe button as I'm working to bring you more insightful content like this that I know will help you smile again. So let's do a quick recap. Betrayal is another way of saying your expectations aren't met. As frustrating as it could be, you can either change your expectations or you can accept that every person is a sovereign being who can make conscious or unconscious decisions that each individual needs to be responsible for, whether sooner or later. But know that it's not your job to fix the other person because there is nothing that needs fixing. It's just something that needs embracing. When you feel betrayed, there are going to be episodes of emotional roller coaster that will feel utterly uncomfortable. And it is uncomfortable at first because your experience of the betrayal situation shatters your beliefs about the person and hence the trust that you place on them. The discomfort you feel is just a signal telling you, hey, take a different direction, make a different choice. This is not what you're looking for. So look for that opportunity to shift instead of sinking into the melodrama that will only waste your time, drain your energy, and sabotage your confidence.